Hello witches, wizards, and those who are yet to receive their Hogwarts school letters, welcome to my Harry Potter kitchen. This is the YouTube series where I'm baking my way through the Harry Potter books, making recipes for every item of food and drink that we find inside. If you missed last week's recipe where we made our very own homemade fire whiskey, make sure you check out the link down below in the description to catch up. And if it's your first time in the kitchen and you want to see some more Harry Potter recipes, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click on the notification bell, then you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there is a brand new recipe. Speaking of which, let's head back into the chamber to see what's next. Okay, so let's head back into Lockhart's classroom to see what's next. So he has just let off a huge bunch of Cornish pixies. They're causing a lot of mayhem in the classroom, and luckily Harry, Ron and Hermione have managed to save the day. That's the end of that chapter, so we're going to move on to chapter 7, Mudbloods and Murmurs, and I can tell by the illustration exactly what is coming up next. We're joining the Gryffindors at Quidditch practice, and the Slytherins have come down too, so there's a little bit of an argument going on as they say they've also booked the pitch. Draco Malfoy then calls Hermione a mudblood, and Ron is having none of it, so he has gone to curse Malfoy, but it's backfired, and that's where I can see our next recipe. Ron opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Instead, he gave an almighty belch, and several slugs dribbled out of his mouth. This just might be our most disgusting recipe yet. If you'd like to recreate these jelly slugs with edible slime, then all the ingredients you need along with the measurements and method are up on my website, bradleybakes.co.uk. The link is down below in the description. Ron has unfortunately hexed himself, so now he is throwing up some slugs, which is a little bit vile, so don't worry, we're not going to create real slugs for this week's recipe. Instead, I'm going to show you how to make some jelly slugs, and we're going to serve this up with an edible slime, so we can recreate that slime that the slugs leave in their trail. First things first, we're going to make those jelly sweets, which are going to be nice and chewy, and I'm going to infuse them with some fresh blackberries, so you get that burst of fruity flavour before the slime hits you. This is what you need to do. To begin making your blackberry syrup, you want to add your blackberries into a pan on a medium heat, then sprinkle over your sugar and add your water. Give this a stir until it's nice and combined, and then bring the mixture up to a boil. You want to let it simmer for about 5 minutes until the fruits are nice and soft and most of the juice has been released. I'm then going to pour this into a sieve and press the blackberries through to make sure we get as much juice out of them as possible. While the blackberries were bubbling away, I've also added some gelatin leaves into some water and left them to one side to bloom. Once these are nice and soft, they're ready to use, so you can return the juice back to the pan, squeeze the gelatin leaves to remove the excess water, and then add this into the pan too. Give it a stir until the gelatin has completely dissolved, and then our jelly sweet mixture is ready to use. Okay, so our jelly slug mixture is ready, and this is just sitting to one side. We need to let that cool down completely so it's at room temperature, as we're going to pop it into a mould, and we don't want it to dissolve it. Now you're probably wondering, how have I got a slug mould? That's quite unusual. Well, it doesn't come formed as a slug mould. I'm going to show you how you can make a temporary mould using sugar. So we're going to pour this into our baking tin and then use some fondant to get our slug shapes into that. And then all we need to do is, once this is slightly thicker, is pour that in and then pop it into the fridge to set. Take a deep baking tin and then pour an even layer of sugar in. Get yourself an offset spatula and level this off. I've then taken some leftover fondant, mine just happens to be pink, but this is going to be nice and easy for us to see if any gets left in the mould. Take off a small piece and then roll it into your slug shape. You then want to turn this upside down and place some skewers into the bottom. Leave your slug moulds out until they start to firm up. I'm then going to take these and gently press them into the sugar, and it should leave you a nice slug indentation. I'm then going to take my slightly thicker jelly mix and a pipette and ease it into the moulds. You want to be careful, as we just want to bring it up to the top surface, and then I'm going to pop that into the fridge so it can set for about 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so while our jelly slugs are in the fridge setting, we're going to move on to making our edible slime recipe. And this edible slime is going to be based on a thinned down lemon curd, which we're going to dye green. So when you eat it, you'll get that bitter sweet taste. And I don't know what real slug slime tastes like, but let's just say it's it tastes like lemon curd. So I'll walk you through the process to make this lemon curd recipe, and then we'll get our slugs out to dip them in. To make your edible slime, you want to start off by juicing and zesting your lemons. I like to roll them just to help release the juice, and then zest them to remove the yellow peel, but not the white pith. Cut them in half and then squeeze out the juice, and you can also press the middle through a sieve just to make sure you get every last drop out. Get yourself a pan and put it onto a medium heat with some water in, allow that to come up to a simmer, and then place a heat-proof bowl over the top. Next, you want to add in your lemon juice and your zest, which we're going to dye green. In a separate bowl, whisk together your egg and your sugar until it's nice and light, and then I'm going to slowly pour that into the warm lemon juice, whisking as I go to make sure it's nice and incorporated. Whisk this through for 1 to 2 minutes, and then I'm going to add in my butter, which is at room temperature, so it should melt through nice and quickly. You then want to keep on whisking for about 5 more minutes, and you'll notice your slime begin to thicken up. Don't worry if it doesn't go completely thick, as it will continue to thicken as it cools. Once you're happy with the consistency, take it off the heat and then place some cling film over the top to prevent a skin from forming. Okay, so our jelly slugs are all set and our edible slime is ready to go. So the next step is just to assemble. I'm going to take the slugs out of our sugar. And don't worry, this sugar mold that we made isn't going to go to waste. I'm going to sieve that sugar out afterwards, and then it is good to use in any other recipes. Use a palette knife to ease your jelly slugs out of the mold and then place them onto your board. As I mentioned, I'm going to break up my sugar, pass that through a sieve, and then pop it back into my bag so I can use it in a future recipe. I'm then going to take my jelly slugs and dip them into the cooled slime. Make sure you get a nice and even coating. You can then place these down onto your board, and I'm going to use the remaining slime to make some slug trails along for an added bit of decoration. And with that, our edible slugs are complete. I bet Ron wishes his were this tasty. So that is how you can make Harry Potter jelly slugs and your own homemade edible slime. It's such an easy recipe and so fun to make, and then you have the perfect little trick or treat for Halloween. If you're going to recreate this one, let me know down below in the comments. That is all for this week's recipe, but if you want to see more from my Harry Potter kitchen, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell, then you'll get an alert every Magic Monday when there is a brand new recipe. I've got to try out these slugs, so I'll see you next week. They can't be that bad, can they, Ron?